Welcome back, everyone, to LCS Academy. The matchup right now is Evil Geniuses versus FlyQuest Academy, and off to the races is FlyQuest with a very dominant game number one.
Yeah, it's been exciting to see how they've been able to play through this and really turn around all the things Evil Geniuses were trying to do on its head. And that's something that FlyQuest have been able to do rather consistently throughout a lot of the season. And whenever their opponents make mistakes, they're one of the best teams at actually punishing them. And so as we look at the game 2, we'll have to see what kind of adaptations Evil Geniuses are going to go for. Are they going to continue to just throw things at the wall and see what sticks? Or are they going to have a more controlled style as we look at the rest of the series?
I mean, it just didn't work out for them using the style that they did in this game, because you're not seeing the damage come through here. All you're seeing is pain being rained on by FlyQuest onto Evil Geniuses, with Evil Geniuses not really having the response to get those health bars below half, only Diamond falling a little bit low there.
And it really comes down to when you choose to take your fights. Ezreal is still a champion that is going to be spiking a lot harder. One, you have Divine Sunder, and even harder when you get the Muramana completion. Whereas you compare it to champions like the Xin Zhao and the Kalista, who are so much better off of their base damages alone that they're going to typically take these fights rather effectively, and they're going to win most of the time. Whereas Evil Geniuses need to get some items underneath their belt. They need extra levels, and I feel like they just started trying to take these fights too early.
It was too hard of a win condition for them. As you can see, just FlyQuest, they had no respect for the composition of Evil Geniuses, and you pretty much see why. They were able to get away with any play they went for. Tomo, going this far deep, only gets punished by a desperate JoJo when the game was basically already over.
Maybe we'll see a little bit more. I have to imagine that Evil Geniuses are going to be drafting around the idea that Mundo is now going to be on the table, right? We saw that it was coming in as the last pick on the red side, and as we identified, there are just times where Mundo is unkillable based on the champions that the other team picks. So Evil Geniuses now has to make sure they pick enough damage to make sure the Mundo pick isn't going to overwhelm them, or they can just ban it out if they want to play the similar style.
Yeah, they gotta be careful, definitely, about how they draft this time, because the whole Victor into Sylas thing, once we got into the team fight phase, was just not really working out. There's plenty of other things JoJo's great at. I mean, we did talk a lot about how he is very proficient in Akali, and he has a wheelhouse, let's be honest. Akali, Renekton, Lee Sin, Lulu, Lucian, Tristana, these are all champions he's played within the current patch of this split. So he's a very diverse player you could really play around, you can really design drafts around, and that's what I'm kind of hoping for. No more of these huge desperation plays coming out of contracts as well, with that weird flash onto the blast cone that we saw. There needs to be some organization in how they set up their plays.
I feel like there are champions that could have made that play much more effectively, but Trundle really wasn't one of them, right? You're just running at the dude, and Victor has a slow built into his skill. I don't think Victor would have had it at that point, although he might have, but he definitely just has the W, like the gravitational field, and is able to run faster by putting the evolve into the Q, so you have movement speed every time you throw it out. So I'm curious to see what version we're going to be playing, because you can definitely lean into contract playmaking ability.
Oh, you definitely can, but hopefully we can see him in a position where he can actually make those plays come true. On the other side of the rift, still, FlyQuest were looking absolutely amazing. I think NXI showed why he's the level of, he gets the level of praise that he does. That was some great play, but Triple is one that stood out to me. They banned out all his AD mid laners, just takes Victor, has no problem, has his own merry way when it comes to the rift.
And you have to remember, he was ganked at like level 1 actually, so he didn't even have his flash for a lot of the early laning phase. But we'll have to pay attention to what he's going to be playing in this next game, because Victor has a lot of guaranteed things that it can do. It's a very general champion. It's kind of okay at most things. You can side lane with it, you can siege with it, you can team fight with it, but it's not necessarily going to have the same kind of opportunity cost as you will with other champions, where you might have something that's very good at split pushing, but might have to give up the team fighting for it. Triple, we've definitely seen an option to both styles of gameplay.
I'm curious to see how the draft is going to go for the first phase when it comes to Evil Geniuses more than anything else, because I believe their first pick this time was Karma, and while Karma is definitely an incredibly strong pick in the current meta, just based off the way the rest of the draft went, it's it's not that much of a compliment to the rest of what Evil Geniuses were going. So those first phases within this next draft are going to be very crucial to shaping Evil Geniuses' overall composition.
Yeah, the more you talk about it, the more I think about it, it becomes a lot harder to justify the karma retrospectively, right? Because you start with it, and it's not a situation where, oh, the rest of the picks were bad. It's just like they didn't do anything to support the karma. You go out with this one powerful pick, and you need to build a style around that or try to counter the other thing. You can't just say like, oh, we got 5 good champions. Sometimes you can. Like, sometimes you can just pick 5 strong champions, but karma, it is so supportive of other styles of play that you need to make sure that you can actually play to those styles, and we definitely didn't see that at all from Evil Geniuses. So with a lot of different powerful picks that couldn't come through early on in the draft, you can still pick the karma, but you just need to actually play around having this on your team. So you're saying, like, yeah, this champion will go even or better in top lane.
Yeah, no damage basically at the end of the day is what we got from Evil Geniuses. I'm really curious how it's going to shape up as a whole, though. I mean, with the bans we saw, I'm kind of curious as to what's going to go through. Are we going to see more Gwen and Viego go through next time for Evil Geniuses? You know, do they want to try... Do FlyQuest want to try and get the Diana Rumble going? There's a lot of questions to be really had here. I mean, for FlyQuest, it feels like more of the same is going to do them a lot in the terms of the series.
Yeah. I just want to highlight something a little bit, because remember how we were talking about how Tony Top, like, he's played Karma a couple times before, mostly in spring. I'm actually looking at his match history right now. He has not played it since spring. He played it a little bit during the Proving Ground Spring Gauntlet. He played it in Arena of Legends, so, and he also played it, yeah, he played it a couple times in the Giant Slayer and then Arena of Legends. That was it. And as far as I can tell, he's currently lifetime 1 and 3 on the champion, and whenever you play these kind of champions, like, you really need to actually understand what you're doing on this style, right? Like, one of the things that I pride myself on as a top laner is actually being a pretty darn good Lulu player, because I understand that I'm not playing a tank. I have to stand behind the rest of my team and I make them strong, but I am not strong on my own, and being able to adapt that style from a player like Tony Top, who is very much about the I'm a big beefy boy in the front line, it's a huge mental change that I'm not sure EGA Academy have been playing around particularly effectively.
So here we go into draft number 2, Evil Geniuses Academy versus FlyQuest Academy, and so far more of the same. Thresh and Lucian bound away to start us off, when going off the Rift as well.
Makes sense. It's something that we have been seeing a lot from Tony Top. It is a very strong champion. The Lulu taken away as well. So maybe FlyQuest paying a little bit too much attention to us here on the desk and saying, you know what? That's true. We don't want Tony Top to play that. We don't want to allow him to learn how to actually go about this. As we see, they have one more ban coming through. Is Zinjo taken off the table? I don't think there was anything that Evil Geniuses did there that FlyQuest should be feeling overly threatened by. So they have a lot of freedom.
I mean, the Xin did posture up a lot around mid, and you got to remember, Triple ended with the 10-1-10 scoreline, so there is a lot of argument to be made on how aggressive NXI can play with these jungle champions and affect other lanes. As Diego does get locked in, is going to get through the draft this time. Evil Genius is happy to pick him up. FlyQuest's response is going to be hovering the Callista for now.
I really like this Viego coming through. We have been seeing Tony Top play it to middling success. He really popped off once against TSM and struggled a little bit more up against Cloud9. So it's definitely something that you can play rather effectively, and it doesn't have to go to Tony Top. This is something that Contracts can play. This is something that Jojo Pian can play. You have a lot of freedom with it. So just having this early flexibility in the draft not only frees up your options to go for very different styles, but also frees up your ability to put it into different matchups. And FlyQuest Academy, on the other hand, are very focused on locking down a couple of champions that they believe are strong, that play to their strengths, but they aren't necessarily going to be as flexible as the rest of the draft continues.
Well, he's still got a decent amount of flex going on. Renekton isn't necessarily a top laner. He can go to the mid lane, which Triple has played a lot with. The big lockdown, though, is going to be that Callista into the ADC role. Doesn't show too much of a hand, but it does leave a lot up, and one of those champions is going to be Diana, one of my personal favorites, to say the least, hitting the Rift now.
Yeah, I mean, we look at the flexibility of FlyQuest, right? You touched on the fact that Renekton can duo flex between top and mid, and the only person I've seen flex the Kalista in recent memory has been Viper, who played a lot of AD carries in the top lane during the spring split. But for Evil Geniuses Academy, you don't actually know where any of these champions are going. We're pretty sure this Diana is going over to contracts, but it doesn't have to. This can still be played in the mid lane. It does have a reasonable matchup spread there.
We'll just keep flexing some more, take the shirt off, it's summer, flex them guns as we get Lee Sin locked in this time, and of course that is another very flexible pick. They have their pick of the litter right here. You can send the Renekton top, or you can send the Lee Sin top, and vice versa when it comes to the mid lane.
So there's a lot that we don't know about either of these compositions at this point. Well, we know how the composition will work as 5, but we don't necessarily know how it's going to work individually and where individual players are going to be bringing any of their champions. And you're noticing right now that the only thing that people know is that there are no support champions that are currently getting picked up. And Alistar taken away from Mystiques, and they still have plenty of other options. We look at things like the Karma that have been very good. The Thresher's also taken off the map, and I feel like Nautilus and Leona are kind of the go-to supports, and Braum is the last 3 that people really focus on.
Another ban comes out. It's going to be Jax focused on. Yeah, when it comes to the supports, Leona, there has been some Tom play out of Diamond as well. He has pulled out the Tom Kench and the Rakan as of this patch before, but I think this is something that's definitely flavored out a little bit more as time has gone on. Rel
is Tom Kench playable in 11-13?
Well, there he is.
Is it? I mean, they hover it, but like, I thought it was bad. Like, everybody I know who's talked about it is just like, this champion is not really playable as a support right now, and I don't expect them to see it come through. The Dr. Mundo would also surprise me, simply because there is enough damage on Evil Geniuses this time to actually grind it down relatively quickly. And so the set makes a lot more sense. It's flexible into the solo lanes, can be played in the support, and it also allows the Renekton and Lee Sin to continue being flexible.
Continue being flexible and continue bringing in damage. This is a scrappy comp, to say the least. This is one that wants to fight. I love seeing it. Rel getting hovered for Evil Geniuses Academy. That's going to bring basically a kind of dynamic duo here, having both Diana as well as the Rel. Really well, Rel. Got to bring that back up. But the team fight engages with that. There's so much potential with this draft from Evil Geniuses.
It is. It's an interesting spot where Rel can go in, and if you can catch a bunch of people, it will allow you to destroy the enemy team very quickly. But Rel is really good at finding flank engages, but can have a lot of difficulty going up against this FlyQuest squad, and can just get kicked out by whoever ends up piloting this Lee Sin. On the other hand, we do have an Akali locked in, so we can lock in almost everybody on the side of Evil Geniuses, with Akali almost definitely being played by Jojo Pion, Diana in the jungle, and Tony Top getting the Viego. Whereas on the other hand, we get to see that this is going to be a jungle Lee Sin at this point, since none of the other champions can really jungle unless you pay attention to a certain streamer that has been playing jungle Renekton only for a long time.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting seeing the Lee Sin back into the jungle. It almost feels weird, which it shouldn't. Lee Sin has been a jungler for almost his entire champion lifetime, but I think it makes sense in this context. Looking over to Evil Geniuses, I gotta say, it's gotta happen once, Joshi. I gotta see the Rel ultimate into the Moonfall Wombo combo. There's so much short range on the side of FlyQuest Academy that it is very practical to get at least 3 to 4 members on every mid-game team fight with that combo.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you can be very aggressive on just because of the AoE that you do have available. And Viego, yeah, like, you have so many different things that you can do. The one thing that you gotta pay attention to from Evil Geniuses, and the fact that Tony Top is playing Viego, is a number of these champions are fairly reliant on their ultimate, right? Lee Sin's Dragon's Rage is such a crucial part of his kit, as is both Set and Kallista's ultimate. And so Tony Top is going to have to be very careful about when he picks individuals to transform into them and actually go for a lot of these fights. So I feel like Evil Geniuses again are picking this, you know, composition that is not the easiest thing in the world to play, but does show a lot of opportunity for individuals to show off.
Not the easiest thing to play, but it is snowbally, to say the least. You know, once they do start getting momentum, it's very hard to stop Evil Geniuses Academy. FlyQuest, on the other hand, they just want to scrap. Let's scrap, let's fight this out, and let's see who's going to take this victory. Evil Geniuses and FlyQuest now hitting the rift.
It's going to be going for a fan on both sides. Neither team really necessarily looked for a ton of early vision last game, but we did see Contracts go for an invade and get spotted out, whereas this time both teams going to be just looking to, you know, fan out, get a little bit of vision maybe in the river, and then back away because they don't want to be giving over too much information to their opponents. And when all is said and done, just a very calm first minute of the game.
You know what, I could use a calm first minute, Joshi. After the last couple of games and the heat we've gotten in the jungle with all the counter jungling we've seen, it's kind of relaxing to just calm down for a second and play some good old-fashioned League of Legends.
Yeah, none of this crazy things that are going on in the first minute. Actually, hold on. Triple goes down. Okay. Just warning
Heard you talking.
So, yeah, so now they know where Contract is starting, but the inverse is not true. NXI has not yet been spotted. They do not know where FlyQuest jungler is going to be starting, so we'll see how adaptable Contracts is, since last time both junglers knew exactly what was going on, and this time there's an imbalance in terms of the information that the teams have.
I think they might have some sneaking suspicion. Tony Top was over towards that wave to ride it out before it came in. And what that at least gives is that Kumo's not there. Kumo must be doing something. The bot lane for FlyQuest Academy showed early before the wave even crashed, so there is some idea as to where NXI is, but you don't have that pinpoint tracking like you have with that ward.
And you have to remember that, like, Renekton's level 1 actually isn't very good, right? You only have access to one ability. It's going to be on a long cooldown, and most of his strength comes from his ability to chain them together in exciting ways. So Kumo actually wants this lane to be pulled back early on because of the fact that Tony Top is so aggressive and so potent on this Viego, and Renekton really cannot contest the level 1 wave at all. He has to go over the level 2.
Needs to get some of those levels, get some of those skills. Speaking of leveling, Triple able to hit level 3. Let's see if he's going to do anything with it. I'm always excited when I see LeBlancs because LeBlancs tend to be on the aggressive side, but now we have LeBlanc versus Akali, so that's another one to get pretty hyped about. And speaking of hype, got to save some hype for down here because attempting a tower dive early is going to be NXI. And here comes the teleport as well. Looking to dive in. They're going after Team Luke, and Team Luke gets destroyed. He gets annihilated. It's clinical. It is precision coming out of FlyQuest. Diamond will stay alive. Brilliant play to start off the game just 3 minutes in.
Let's go, FlyQuest. That's what we like to see. They had a plan. They stuck to it. Lee Sin started topside. He cleared Red Raptor's Grom and shows up for this play. Right, look at this. He has exactly level 3. He's here perfectly on time. And they have such a calculated idea of what to do here. Double stun comes through, and man, there is no way Evil Geniuses was ready for this at all. This is not a play anybody else normally makes, and FlyQuest taking full advantage of the fact that they are first to the fight.
And I don't know if you saw that, but turret aggro just barely changed after hitting a minion. That could have been a 1-for-2 exchange. That was very, very much on the knife's edge.
We'll see if they're going to be able to continue doing that, right? There are a bunch of summoners that are still available for both Team Luke and Mystiques, whereas on FlyQuest, they did have to commit at least the Ignite and the Heal in order to make that work. So it's possible that they can continue chaining and snowballing Tomo's Callista ahead, but it's also a little bit risky now that they have already committed Triple's teleport.
You can already see Tomo posturing up, looking to get that harassment, and here comes Diamond. He will get the CC, lands the Haymaker as well, gets a good chunk onto Mystiques. Not gonna find much else but harassment.
But that's still going to be enough, right? Like, naturally, Team Luke on this Tristana, you can't freeze a wave as Tristana for very long. You can do it for maybe a wave, and then after that, your passive on your explosive shot will push it right back on out. So FlyQuest has so much freedom in how they want to play this early game, and surprisingly, Contracts has been quiet so far. He's only a camp ahead of NXI, and considering that 2 kills went over to FlyQuest, it is not an even trade.
Diamond is such a fun player to watch. Those max range hooks we saw in the last game, and the constant attempt at hex flashes in this game. He is an aggro support if I've ever seen one before, but take a look at that minimap. Contracts is now headed towards the bot side. Spots out Diamond. He is going to get spotted out by a control ward, but here comes the teleport and the flip from FlyQuest. They're going to go right after Contracts, getting a lot of autos into him from Tomo. Here comes the Haymaker to buy some time. Diamond will fall. It'll be a 1-for-1 exchange over in the bot lane, support for support.
That's crazy that they're continuing to support so much in this bottom lane. Kumo potentially looking for another dive. NXI is here.
Oh, and he gets the Sonic Wave. Diving deep is going to be Kumo. Gets the auto. Can he get away in time? We'll get the stun. Couple more autos to go through. Tomo is landing. Here comes Tony Top. Goes right after Kumo. Kumo's still alive. If he pops the Q, he can heal, but Tony Top will be able to take him down. And this bot lane is a party, Joshi.
Oh my gosh, and everybody getting a little piece of the action. You're noticing that everybody has participated in a kill at least once, with the one exception of Jojopyeon. There's so much extra gold in this map, and we already said Necton can't really contest Viego a lot of the time up here in the top side, but now he's coming down to the bottom. He gives over a plate and does have an opportunity to go for this fight. They find mistakes. They are able to crush him down relatively quickly, and for a lot of teams that would be all done, but they already brought LeBlanc, they already brought the Lee Sin, and they said, hey, I think we can go for a little bit more. Round 2, diving Team League again, and this Tristana has not been able to farm at all.
It's been punish after punish after punish, gank after gank after gank. No, Tony Top does get some vengeance over here. I was waiting for that Q to come out and just get that last bit of heal for him to escape, but not going to be the case. Tony Top will get some vengeance, and I said we might be off to a bloodbath, and this is exactly what's going on between these two squads. They are bringing it to the bot lane.
Alright, we see a lot more movement. Once again, NXI chilling in the mid lane. They were harassing Jojopyeon to be able to push him off, and now with so much pressure on the bottom side, it's a little bit surprising to me that this dragon is still standing, but neither team has been able to get a definitive enough win late enough in the game for either team to pick this up. The only thing they have right now is the fact that Tomo is, you know, in some ways full build. He's got the Vampiric Scepter, and that's all he really needs in order to go for these trades and then heal up afterwards.
That's kind of the problem of every engage you do being a tower dive. It's very hard to leave those tower dives without having enough HP. Now Contract starting to set his eyes towards the bot lane, just cleaning out wards for the time being, as the rest of the squad of FlyQuest try and reassess themselves, get themselves back on the map to be in a position to go after that Drake. More fights going over on the top side, but that's where NXI is headed. Going towards the dragon right now. It's going to be a Mountain Drake, just establishing a vision and clearing some out for the time being. Triple trying to get some harassment. Getting that back onto Jojo would be pretty big if they do want to secure that Drake.
It looks like it might be enough for them. They're pushing out the bottom lane. They had priority in the mid lane, and they've confirmed that Jojo is currently on a reset cycle. And Triple doesn't need to harass him. They just need to make sure that he is not going to be walking over to the dragon, even though it is on vision. NXI going to be able to grab this, but because it's on vision, the question becomes, are Evil Geniuses going to do anything about it? We just see Contracts continuing to farm and maybe transitioning top lane for a dive.
Look at the trauma right there. The bot lane of Evil Geniuses immediately just go into the jungle. They see NXI in the area, and they don't want to risk any bit of that. But now a little bit of time has passed, and NXI is back. Here comes the Sonic Wave, waiting for the Dragon's Rage. Not going to find it. In fact, gets crowd controlled, so he can't Dragon's Rage Mystiques. It's still going to be an overall successful gank in getting the rest of Evil Geniuses to pull off of it and getting some of the resources burnt, but this gank is not done. Showstopper, Luke gets delivered straight to Tomo. Tomo will grab that kill happily. It's actually Diamond who gets it, but so much pressure in the bot lane. Keep in mind, FlyQuest have just been dominating this side of the map for so long. Jojo finally able to show up, but it's all too late now. Your squad mates are dead.
He gets the flash out of Tomo, which is like silver linings, right? You get a little bit more than you might have expected, and that just means that it's going to be 5 minutes where Tomo is a little bit less safe. They will be able to crash this turret, or crash this wave into the turret, but on the mid lane, you see that Team Luke, who's currently 1-3, down 30 CS, walks into mid and needs to be very careful. He can just die, right? If Triple ends up sticking around at all, it is currently a 2-level difference. It was briefly a 3-level difference, and LeBlanc, if they start getting rolling with a couple more assists and maybe a solo kill or two, FlyQuest could very easily convert this into a 2-0.
Yeah, FlyQuest are looking golden on this game so far. Over on the side of Evil Geniuses, it's just been rough. We said it's more of a snowball-y comp, but the thing about a snowball-y comp is if you don't get that snowball rolling, it is very hard to come back from the depths once this does hit the mid-game.
Trying to move around once again. There's no dragon for 3 more minutes. Thank you for giving us the timers once again. It makes my job way easier to know when team fights are going to be happening. We are seeing a little bit of back and forth in the mid lane once again. Both of the junglers chilling out here like we saw in game 1, and going to be moving a bunch of members around, potentially looking to move towards the mid lane.
Here comes the ultimate Mystique, goes in, and Tomo gets destroyed. FlyQuest show up big now as they bring in NXI, able to grab a kill. It's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange. Showstopper goes out. NXI's on the hunt as he safeguards and grabs the double kill onto Team Luke. Contracts is now here as Diamond able to get some crowd control in, but not going to find too much else as NXI dives deep, finds the triple kill. NXI on this Lee Sin is a beast, and he wants to make it the Quadra. He goes for it, triple grabs it, but oh my god, it is disaster now for Evil Geniuses as they lose everything in the bot lane.
Dude, Diamond is so good on this set. The way they're able to play that and the coordination that we're seeing coming up from FlyQuest really is showing why this team has been playing so well and is currently second in the standings behind only 100 Thieves. And if they are able to pick this up, very, very close to rivaling the top of the standings. So I'm excited for the rest of the play throughout this. They bring people down. They have a good idea of where to bring people. And now the only thing they have to do is convert this lead towards more of the map, start picking up these structures, and snowball the game before this Tristana and this Viego get to the late.
Man's working on his second item right now when we look at NXI. He's already got his Gore Drinker complete. He's a jungler, keep in mind, 12 minutes into this game. Now gank going over towards the top side. Tony Top trying to make his way out. Here comes the Haymaker, gets a good chunk of damage in, and the Croc is able to finish it off. Kumo grabbing that kill.
Be able to walk out. For now, JoJo is coming up. It doesn't have ultimate, doesn't have flash. Would be a very difficult play to go for, and instead, going to have to limp back towards the mid lane where it's a little bit of a complaint. But here, we see them go in, and it's very exciting to watch Team Luke and Mystiques actually have the confidence to go for this play despite how difficult everything was previously. But I want to point something out. Watch how Diamond actually plays this fight, because he's been waiting for Team Luke, and right as they get the rocket jump to start, that's when he presses R, denies Team Luke any mobility, and then from here, you have to pay attention to how well coordinated both Triple and NXI are. They always go in, they use their dashes at the same time on people multiple times throughout this fight. Watch how they go on JoJo Pune together. They get the little bit of damage to get to execute, and then they'll do it again to Contracts here in just a second. They're talking so much. This is only possible when you talk to your teammates. Watch, they go at the same time again. They're both in the air at the same time twice, and they get kills both times with it.
Teamwork makes the dream work, and FlyQuest are looking for another team fight. They go over towards the Drake. The retreat coming out of Evil Geniuses. This Drake should be easily secured by FlyQuest. Their momentum is absolutely massive as they continue focusing towards this bottom side of the map. NXI able to grab that Infernal and keep the stats boosting for FlyQuest.
Both being Infernal and a Mountain underneath their belts, these are the most effective individual Drakes that you can pick up throughout most of the game. Kumo does still need to be careful. This is still not an easy matchup one-on-one for the Renekton, but he has been having a big effect on the rest of the map as we see Kumo. Actually, he gets a pretty good trade here, but you have to remember that there's going to be a lot more sustain in Tony Top's kit throughout a lot of these fights than Kumo will have. So Tony Top can still take a lot of these extended fights.
And here we go, looking for the engage.
Like
NXI going to show up, but from the rafters comes Contracts. Sonic Wave lands, not willing to go for it is NXI, but here comes the dive, going straight on to Kumo. Kumo's able to flash away and stay alive. Here comes Sonic Wave, resonating strike, looking to find the kill. JoJo stays alive, but gets slayed. NXI in the back end is able to get it, but he falls in the process. Going after Contracts. Kumo gets the kill, but Tony Top will finish it off. A wild exchange to the top side, 2 for 2. Tony Top stands, now wailing away at this turret.
Oh, and now we're going to get a whole bunch of structures falling back to back. The bottom lane turret is already dead. Triple chilling mid lane now is a 3-level lead over Team Luke, and we'll have an opportunity to potentially turn things around. But I just have to praise FlyQuest for being able to win that 2v3 with a little bit of help from the turret. Everything is starting to go in FlyQuest's favor, but they still have to pay attention to the Viego, which will get strong. And as we watch this back once again, just watch how NXI and Kumo are able to take this fight. They recognize that they don't really want to take this and they need to fight underneath the turret. So as they back away, they completely dodge things, and once Contracts whiffs the ultimate, suddenly they have the confidence to go back in and turn things around. Unfortunately, communication finally breaks down. They can't actually focus their damage on the same target throughout this entire fight, and instead they are able to pick up 2 for 2. They end up losing the turret.
Yeah, that's going to be a good influx of gold for Tony Top, which is well needed for Evil Geniuses. Now FlyQuest starting to posture up around this Rift Herald area. They have 4 members strong on this top side of the map, only keeping Triple towards the bot. Only a couple more seconds before his teleport is available, so FlyQuest, they feel very confident taking this.
Steaks is down here, Contracts is down here, but there's not a lot to play for. They do have a turret, but it is a difficult task trying to dive a LeBlanc as long as they have the distortion available. And now they're rotating Kumo down to the bottom side as well. Knowing that Tomo is completely uncontested, he will be able to solo get experience in the Steaks.
No Contracts going on to Kumo. Kumo trying to slice and dice over the wall, will be able to find his escape as the turret goes down over in the top side. FlyQuest are still cashing in.
Now that they see so many members of Evil Geniuses on the bottom side of the map, FlyQuest is responding in the top side. They're going to be crashing the Rift Herald into the second tier turret, taking this down, going to continue to push. They should be able to crash into another structure.
Wow.
And look at this, Evil Geniuses are slow on the response. The turret should survive, but that is a large chunk of damage that they probably didn't need to take.
That is so low now. 16 minutes in, their inhibitors almost cracked. FlyQuest are just playing the map better. They're responding better to what Evil Geniuses are doing on the map. Like, why are you trying to put that many resources into a LeBlanc who will just do that to your mid laner? Oh, Triple, you monster.
Oh boy. Jojopian really struggling this series. He did not have a good game 1. He is not having a good game 2. Triple looking like he really has his number, finding a solo kill during this last couple minutes. And now, as I start to move around, you gotta ask, where is Evil Geniuses gonna find their advantage? And the answer looks like it's probably gonna have to be off of Tony Top, who was, oh god, Diamond!
Oh my god, Diamond!
You can't do that!
What the hell? Why are you this good at this game? My god, that was disgusting.
Does Team Luke even have a rocket jump? I mean, as long as Diamond is around, he hasn't been able to get away. It's the second time he's been pulled out this game, and Diamond is looking so strong, finding a kill shortly before the Dragon. It's going to give FlyQuest plenty of time to set up vision and control everything. NXI is here.
This is the Diamond highlight reel as FlyQuest go for another engage. They will find it on the Contracts and deny him his red buff. Triple not done, wants a distortion forward, but Jojo is in no man's land. Will get a nice little tech over the wall to be able to try and stay alive, but here comes Triple getting in more damage. Doesn't have the sustain to continue dealing it, waits for the cooldowns, gets over the wall, and NXI finishes off the job.
And I like the fact that Tomo backed away. He didn't want any part of the Akali. He knows his champion doesn't interact well. Just going to go push out the mid lane and let the Bruisery champs take care of this. And they're just training kill into kill into kill. 3 kills in a row is now going to result in a free Cloud Dragon for themselves. They don't, individually the Cloud Dragon, not that interesting, but as you get towards the Cloud Soul, a lot of people underestimate how important the movement speed that this is actually going to be giving. It actually helps Kalista do so much better with the extra effective attack speed it gives them.
Oh my god, I just want to see this again. Oh my god, Diamond! He is so good at League of Legends.
Yeah, he just knows, right? Like, that's the kind of thing that you get from playing this game so often and understanding what your opponents want to do. And they just chain things, right? They get the kick, they get the Fate's Call coming out from Kalista, they knock them up, and they knock them up again, and there's just not a whole lot that anybody can do against that kind of coordination. FlyQuest, I'm seeing why they've been having so much success, simply because they are so good at communicating in team fights.
And here we go, and engage onto Diamond. Diamond able to use the Haymaker to get the shield. Contracts tries to continue, but Diamond pulls him back in. Tomo takes him down. FlyQuest with another kill. JoJo faking out engage there, but NXI says, nah, we're going for this one. Will he pay for it?
He's
Answer
alive.
looks like it's going to be no, but no. JoJo will be able to put him down. Health bar so low for Evil Geniuses, and the Croc smells blood as he continues to try and chase down Tony Top, to chase down JoJo, to chase down Mystiques, to chase down all of the Evil Geniuses, and send them right to the Shadow Realm. FlyQuest are tearing apart EG.
Tony Top, the only one alive, and where do FlyQuest want to go? They don't have the members necessary to feel comfortable actually doing the Baron. Contracts is up too soon. Instead, they're just going to be taking a turret in the mid lane and extending their gold lead to 9,000 gold. It didn't look like they were necessarily fighting for anything, but they're picking up everything. Diamond thought he might have been caught out by Contracts, but this is what we're seeing. They're just too far behind, and this is just a gold difference fight, right? They bring so many members. They think they can take it. Contracts is far enough forward, but they don't have the damage to actually even take down their support.
NXI, a very ambitious play, but at the end of the day, it works out. More than anything, it was to buy time for Kumo to show up and start cleaning house, and that's exactly what this boy does. Look at all these low health bars that EG can just do nothing about because FlyQuest have dominated the Rift all game.
When you have that much gold, you can make these kind of plays, and now the only thing they have to do is clean out the top side of the map of wards, make sure that EG have to go for these face checks, and potentially go for a fight afterwards. They're finding multiple members. Diamond might be caught.
Ooh, JoJo feeling a little bit of desperation here as Diamond's able to get up to Haymaker, get a good shield, but JoJo will take him down. Now Tomo on the back line trying to go 1v1 with Team Luke. Tomo will get the kill. Tony Top able to get some damage in, but he's getting kited by the Callista. Tomo goes golden. The rest of the squad of FlyQuest are able to finish up the job. Only Mystique stays alive, but it's Baron time for FlyQuest.
They're in time. They're going to be able to pick it up. They're going to be able to take it down. And the only person who's alive, Mystique's getting chased down by Kumo on the other side of the map. This is rather easy for FlyQuest to try and close out. They are able to snowball this Callista. And remember, this started off at level 2 or 3 when the NXI came down in order to get that double kill underneath the turret. And they just haven't let up. Tomo now 6-1-8, and so much of it has been at Team Luke's detriment. We even see this, right? NXI and Diamond start this fight off 2 versus 4, but they're able to buy so much time that the cavalry can arrive, and Tomo basically just picks one person after another and just says, alright, well, I'm going to duel you, and then I'm going to duel you, and by the time that Tony Top thinks that he's going to take his turn, there's too many people left, and it's no longer a duel.
FlyQuest playing that so beautifully. Now they have Baron. Now they're in a position to really start closing this one out. And just look at the goal, Joshi. This is disgusting to see. About 12K separating these teams 20 minutes in. And it's only growing as NXI finds JoJo. That
was cute, right? Just kick him and, you know, instantly punt him off with the Q. They're going to be able to pick up everything. Yeet. They're going to be able to grab this inhibitor. They're going to be able to go bottom lane if they want it. Like, do they want to play this a little bit slower, or do they just want to go for the full-on fight? Contracts almost dies.
You're supposed to do that to the ADC, not the other way around. Contracts is having a bad day. Tomo is bringing the pain with them spears.
All right, well, Contracts is cutting the wave, so he might buy a little bit of time if FlyQuest do choose to chase him. He's so low, and Triple just needs to get in range of 1 W. He's using the ultimate on the wave.
Wow. Yeah, that is pure desperation right there. There's not too much Evil Geniuses can do at this massive of a deficit. And the fight's going to continue. Tomo is fearless right now. He feels like he's a take himself as he wails away with these autos. Able to score 1 kill. Finally gets low enough where Tony Top's able to take him down. But Team Luke will follow. So will JoJo. So will the rest of the Evil Geniuses. This is the ace. This is FlyQuest. I mean, when you grab a squad with this much experience and potential on the roster, results is what you're looking for, Joshi. And this is what FlyQuest is getting as they maintain their standings towards the top of the ladder with another 2-0 victory.
30 kills in 24 minutes is what FlyQuest have in this game. They look so good top to bottom, and this time they were able to make a whole lot of proactive plays as Triple ruins anybody's fantasy points if they were voting for him by giving that last kill over at the very end and ruining his KDA, but you have to be impressed. This is 2 games that they won in under 25 minutes, and FlyQuest definitively in second place, and I thought this was going to be one of our closer games of the day.
I thought the same too. I honestly do like what Evil Geniuses have in their roster and what they have been developing. I mean, these are players with a lot of potential, but there's just way more on FlyQuest and the way they've been shaping. As I said, they grabbed the Scouting Grounds MVP in NXI, and he tore apart the play, set his team up for victory. That Lee Sin, by the way, ending with a 9-2-10 scoreline. And keep in mind, like 11 minutes in, he already had his Gourd Drinker. He was tearing apart the Rift.
Now, it looks really good when you're able to flex these champions around between so many different roles, top, mid, jungle. If everybody can play Lee Sin, this champion just becomes so much more valuable for your draft. And we saw a very different style coming out between games 1 and 2, and FlyQuest able to execute on both of them. So we're going to get a couple of replays coming through, starting with, Team Luke turning things around before the disaster that unfolds in the bottom lane here for FlyQuest, as we get to see insane coordination between Triple and NXI.
Yeah, look at the synergy. You kept saying it during the replay that they do it at the same exact time, and oh my goodness, I'm just waiting for that play to go off. There's the jump, Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike with the distortion. Now it's time to do the same thing to Contracts. It was beautiful coordination coming out of this squad, and this is an academy roster. One of the main gripes we have with a lot of them is working on the communication and macro. This was not an issue for FlyQuest.
Not at all, and so it also makes you wonder, they just did this to a squad that has been looking rather good throughout the season, right? Evil Geniuses have Contracts who just came down from a fantastic performance in LCS, and so many of these players are looking so strong up against their counterparts. NXI was able to really take it to Contracts in a lot of these situations. And it makes me wonder how many of these players are ready to take the next step. Is this going to be a thing where they were overperforming today? Or is this a thing where it's like, no, guys, this is what we should be expecting from these players, even against some of the best of the best?
And they are a second place team right now. They have been doing absolutely fantastic, and getting this win was nothing shy of just that. It was very clean, it was very calculated, and the biggest thing was, I kept saying it during the last little spiel earlier, that they play like a team. They play like a calculated, coordinated team. They know their win conditions, and they play exactly to them. And the fact that we saw early plays like what we saw out of NXI with that dive just is a testament to that.
It's crazy. I can't wait to hear what some of their players are going to be saying about some of these early plans. Like how did the communications go? Who's making these calls? At what point did they decide that they were going to be diving the bottom lane? Because that's the kind of thing that a lot of coordinated teams, that you have to decide that before the game even starts. Like maybe they knew they were going for this as early as their third pick on red side, because that's the kind of thing where it's like, okay, this is a plan we've had before, we're going to try and put it in.
I have no idea, I can't say I'm the coach here, but, pretty soon we can get some insight into that once we get our interview scored up. But, yeah, this was a great series to see nonetheless. Ultimately, Evil Geniuses did get their first series defeat of the split, so it is a pretty big win for FlyQuest nonetheless.
It is, and it is very exciting for these guys. We still have FlyQuest. That's their first time going up against Evil Geniuses, but they still have to take a series against Immortals coming up relatively soon, and at that point from there, the only teams that they have lost to was Cloud9 Academy, who a lot of people on paper were saying this should be the roster to beat. If you can take these guys down, it means that you're going to be in a fantastic position, and we saw that FlyQuest was able to beat them 2-0 just as they lost 2-0 to Cloud9. But that's not something that you need to be worried about, right? This is a roster that, if they're on their game, is going to be able to run over just about everybody, but they haven't necessarily had the same kind of coordination as we've been looking for the rest of the teams.
And I'm going to say it's going to be a different Cloud9 that they go against, because this is Cloud9 with Sven or Cloud9 with King. It's going to be King next time when he shows up, so I'm looking forward to that match, Joshi. I'm looking forward to what is in the future of FlyQuest Academy, because based off that game alone, performance, results, they're getting them.
They really are. I feel like almost everybody had a really good game this time around, right? Probably the quietest person that we saw from that entire thing was Kumo, right? And it's simply because he didn't pop off, right? Like everybody else did. He just had a very good game. He was always in the right place at the right time. He knew what he needed to do. He recognized, hey, my lane is not going to be particularly good, so let's go ahead and affect the rest of the map. And I feel like that's the kind of thing where it makes your team that much more threatening, is if this player recognizes that, hey, I'm not going to be carrying this game, but I'm going to make sure that everybody else can. It means that FlyQuest have so much more flexibility, not only in their draft, but also in their ability to play from game to game.
You were talking about individual talent, and that makes me want to pull up one player in specific because I cannot stop talking about him. It's going to be Diamond. Diamond, that was some of the sickest support play I think I've seen in a series in a long time. Those max range hooks on the Nautilus, along with some of the most disgusting set out plays I've seen, just completely thwarting that whole Tristana interaction with the rocket jumps. That was great stuff out of Diamond. That is support carry at its truest.
There was a period in time where this was kind of considered standard for a lot of supports. Back when a lot of the great stars of support were really playing, we would see this kind of play all the time, but now we're going to have an opportunity to talk to Diamond himself and see where he might rank himself amongst the greats.
Hello, Diamond. Thank you for joining us here today, and congratulations on your 2-0 victory. All right. First things first, how has it been like being on FlyQuest Academy? Because you guys have really accelerated as a team. You have a lot of oceanic talent, you have a lot of individual talent who's still growing up, and then you have extremely experienced veterans like you. How does this all come together? Mhm.
Yeah, one of the things we were praising you guys for throughout these last couple of games, in particular in game two, was your coordination during team fights and your ability to just really target individuals and go for plays at the exact same time. Is that something that you guys have been working on, or where has that power really come from?
I think we just know how to play the game. I don't think like there's too many like coordination thing like happening. Like I think like we just know which target we should hit and like when we should fight. And like I think that's like something with that if you use your views and like use your just knowledge as a player to and you like share it onto your other players that everyone should be on the same page in. I think like coordination is kind of a myth, honestly. Like if you like know what to do and your team knows what to do, everyone's just chilling. You know, like you're just playing League and it's like way less like having to like patch things up in the comms and more like everyone just knows what to do. So that's my opinion on it personally.
Speaking of that, I did want to get into a coordination-based question as you kind of deconstruct all the coordination and everything, but that level 2, I think it was, that whole focus on the bot side, when did you guys really plan that out? Was that your plan from the get-go as you hit the rift for that game number 2?
Oh, when we dove
Just
them
repeatedly
at level...
tower dive their bot
Oh.
lane.
Oh man, they left Callisto up, so they deserve to suffer. That's kind of the if you leave Callisto open, then you deserve to get dove. Those guys like just take the L or defend them. But their whole team did not like the bot lane, so they just let them die. Sucks. The plan actually was to that I would just kill myself and like just 1-for-1 their AD carry or something. That was the plan, but then we saw their mid didn't TP, their top didn't TP. I'm like, oh well, we'll just take the double kill. So like, but yeah, that was interesting.
Awesome. Well, you guys have been doing really well throughout the series. You're currently sitting at second in the standings behind only 100 Thieves Academy. What kind of plans do you have, looking forward? Is there anybody that you're really looking at as like, hey, we really need to take these guys down? Or do you guys feel like you're already basically the best team in the entire Academy scene?
I'm not sure honestly. I think like the meta changing like affects like a lot of teams in general. I think like for us the meta change went pretty in a good direction for us, I think. So like the current bot lane and like top lane picks like fit our style. So I think it depends on like if it affects the other top teams. I think C9 is probably like a bit worse without Sven. I mean Sven is kind of a 1v9 faker. Like playing against Sven for a while, like this guy is really something else compared to all the even in LCS, like he's something special. So I think their team is probably a bit like worse, but I mean King is really good too. So it's not like they're gonna be like that much worse, right? But Sven is like way like a step above everyone like in the league. So
All right, well,
I do believe like C9 will be C9 sorry C9 will be will probably be top 3, and I think 100 is up there too, and I think we're amongst those 3 probably. We'll see how it goes from the meta.
all right, we want to thank you so much for joining us, Diamond, and just want to let you know you're an absolutely stellar support player after seeing a performance like that, and I wish you the best of luck in your future games.
Well, thanks. That's not what Reddit thinks though, but thanks for that. I appreciate it.
Hey, Joshi, screw Reddit. Who cares what they say? I'm supporting the boy anyway, but wild game to see go through, and there's definitely a lot of high moments in that last one for me, especially watching Diamond play.
True, right? It's just really cool when you see players have like these pop-off moments where they just understand exactly what's going on and are always one step ahead of their opponents. And you know, the humble attitude that he comes at it with is also really cool because it means that he thinks he's still got a long ways to improve and maybe he can become even better. So FlyQuest have a lot to look forward to, I think, after taking down evil geniuses, and I can't wait to see what else they're going to be able to do as the rest of the season unfolds.
It's Academy, it's all about development, and it's great to see. We are going to throw it over to a short break. When we return, we'll get into our last game of the day. That's going to be Cloud9 versus Team Liquid. Be sure to stay tuned.